God is good, and with each day that passes brings us a day closer to the launch of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Today we are going to learn more about this upcoming MMO as we talk about the questions from the community and the developers' answer. Chris Joppa Perkins, the creative director, Adam T. Mostel, the associate game designer, Tony Minus Giddy, the associate content creator, Kyle Iggy Olsen, the lead programmer, and JN Istelmay Gerhardt, the lead writer, all went live and took live questions from the community. And if you would like to watch the full Q&A, I have a link in the description down below. But if you want to hear everything in a shorter format, that's what I'm here for. We will be talking about pre-alpha sessions, alpha, classes, the races to the top mentality, and how Pantheon Rise of Fallen will combat that playstyle, and so much more. So let's hear from our sponsors and then get started. Before we begin, I want to give a major shout out to the members of Napalm. I could not do this without you. You are the sponsors of this channel, and I thank you for your contribution, allowing me to keep making videos on MMOs, RPGs, and of course, puppets. If you are interested in becoming a member of Napalm, please click the join button down below. It is greatly appreciated. And a very special shout out to the Lords of Napalm, Bounty Code, We Tote Bitcoins, Jared Woodhouse, and Daimlos. Thank you for your highest tier membership. The first question was about the monk. After testing, the monk needed some tweaks for DPS as it was low during the last pre-alpha. Adam answered and said that yes, and that there are adjustments for all of the classes with the data collected from the pre-alphas. The second question was asked, when is the next pre-alpha? They first said there would be an announcement very soon, then a little later, Joppa let it slip that the next pre-alpha would be before the end of the year. So that's really great news for all VIP testers for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, that we have another session coming very soon by the end of the year and should be back in the World of Terminus testing extremely soon. The third question was asked about the Druid. How will it play? Will the Fox indirect heal? Joppa said the Druid is still on track for the way described, that the Fox pet will do indirect healing. This gives it flavor and makes it different than the other healing classes. The fourth question was asked, how do we defend against the race to the top mentality people have when playing MMOs these days? Kyle said that people race to the top, in his opinion, because the leveling up process, the journey, isn't very good. The equipment comes too fast and loses meaning. Farming or trying to earn good gear while leveling up doesn't make much sense, for example, as Adam stated, because you outlevel it so quick. Joppa went on to say it has to be fun to level up and fun to be any level in the game. Joppa said how many of us can say that while playing an MMO today can actually really honestly say we are having fun. He said not the hooks and addiction qualities of the MMO, but how much actual fun are you really having while playing and leveling up? How much fun are you having for the journey? In Pantheon, it's about answering that question. It has to be fun for the entire journey through all the activities the players have to do. If you race to the top in Pantheon, you are going to lose out, such as on abilities and equipment that isn't just good at level 10, but is good for purposes for a very, very long time, not just throwaway gear, for example. The fifth question was about content density. Castle Debier that was shown was very dense on content. Is that what we can expect from the entire game world, or would that take too much development time? Joppa said firstly, no. Adding all these clickable things, interactable things, and intricate quest design do not take long with all the tools they have custom made for Pantheon. But as far as that much density, Castle Debier is a good example of what they can do. Not necessarily what every single area in the game will be that dense. It could be overwhelming if it were. Then Kyle said that anything they can imagine can be implemented into the world. He said more has actually been added to Castle Debier, but there has to be refinement, finding things that are familiar enough for players that they don't have to constantly relearn how to look around and investigate. They want to train good instincts and habits and not just spam clickies. There will be areas that lend themselves to have a ton of interactables, but then there will be areas where there doesn't make sense to have as much interactable things, and places where there will be tons of interactable things. The sixth question about content push and does or will Pantheon use outsourcing to get content done. Joppa said there are multiple ways they are getting massive amounts of content in the game in-house with the amazing tools that they have made to get more done faster. The second would be that they plan to scale the team to get more content in the game faster. The third is that they have set the game up to be cleaner in code and easier to implement content since they are a small team, but that will make an even easier impact as they scale the size of the team up. Then Kyle went on to affirm how much faster they can design and implement content. He says before all these tools were developed and implemented, it was difficult and extremely time consuming. But now, he had stated before anything they can think up can be implemented. On growing the team, Minus talked about how pledging to the game is where the money comes from so they can continue to grow the team, which is how they will get things done even faster. The seventh question was, are racial actives still planned and when can we expect to see them? Adam answered they are planning and are coming, and although they can't say a date, we will learn about them. Among the many evolutions for combat, they are simultaneously working on the racial stats, which is paving the way for the racial actives in order to balance it all out. Joppa went on to say he can't wait for those to go online, as it is going to be a ton of fun. The eighth question was, will Warrior be available in the next pre-alpha session? Joppa said no, the reason is because their plan will be the final one of the year, the final pre-alpha of the year, and to be a send-off of this chapter of the current build of the project. Then the network stack and the full HDRP implementation will be a massive shift that allows all the classes to start to be implemented, although he is not saying it is the last pre-alpha, the turn of the year, which puts them much closer to the alpha point. My opinion from that information, I want to say real quick, so classes being implemented, the HDR gets rid of all gray boxing, the classes in, that sounds as if that would put us in alpha ready state. So I do believe that we are getting extremely close, and I do think that next year's pre-alphas will be the final legs. I mean, it's kind of baked into that answer if you look at their timeline and what they want to, the state they want the game to be in before they enter alpha. So I still do believe that we will see alpha during next year in 2022. The ninth question was, how is the pet system coming along and has it been started yet with the summoner? Adam said no, it has not been started because the networking refactor is a prerequisite for pets in the summoner. They do have that on the roadmap, and as Joppa had just previously stated, that is coming, and then the server will be able to handle pets, etc. Joppa doubles up on how pets are load bearing, so the network stack has to come first. The 10th question was, what is the sweet spot for amount of text for the perception pings? Adam says he thinks a sentence is enough, so it can still be secretive but lead the player on. JN or Justin says he agrees, short and sweet. He says he believes it can't be distracting. It needs to be easily digestible so players don't miss it. He thinks it needs a voice that is unilateral across the world. Then Joppa said he will be surprised if they can keep them all down to one sentence. He thinks 2 sentences will be needed at times. Minus then gave a quick improv example that was so bad that Joppa shut it down immediately, and it was stated very clearly that Minus will not be writing the lore or the perception pings. The 11th question was, will Pantheon have GM events where GMs interact in real time with the players and world? Joppa said yes, absolutely yes. They have ideas already, and it will be a big differentiator that Pantheon Rise of Fallen will have. All of the developers talked about how special they think these are to MMOs, and they definitely are making a game where this can and will happen. The 12th question was, how soon will we see the other models for other races such as the Scar? Joppa says just as it is on the roadmap timeline, and it will be done before alpha rolls around, and is something they are working on. The 13th question was, will they cut off pre-alpha pledges when the pre-alpha is almost over? Minus said that being a pre-alpha tester still has value, and the final pre-alpha is going to be long. Then Joppa said, although he doesn't believe they have a long time left of pre-alpha, they do have some rapid pre-alpha and longer sessions coming. The 14th question asks, how much of alpha will be DR's assets? Joppa said he wants to clarify that they don't have an issue with using pre-made assets, and there may be some of those in the actual launch of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, for example. Halnir's Cave uses mostly Unity assets, but they were able to customize so much of that they are happy with it. He says the problem isn't using the assets, it's when they are overused to a point of not having an identity of your own. There is a lot of art that can be used for mundane parts of the world, such as crates or things like that. If it helps development time and it fits in the world, they will use it. He then also said that outsourcing is another leg of their arsenal to get art finished. Obviously, they need internal art, but there is a time and a place for assets and for using those multiple multiple avenues. Joppa then says by alpha there will be no gray box left, but yes, there will be some Unity assets. Justin went on to say that they don't need to handcraft a rock, but for the storytelling and meaning and identity, they need their own internal assets as well. The 15th question asks if the squares that determine the three qualities of what the player can see accounts for vertically as well as horizontally. The quick answer is yes, it does. They're very large, so the player can see very far away, vertically and horizontally. The 16th question was, can we expect all the locations and lore that has been written so far will be represented in the game at launch? JN said he absolutely cannot guarantee that every single piece will be in the game at launch. And as far as the places and locations and every single thing talked about in the lore so far. He talks about the petrified forest and the islands will be amongst many that probably will be in the game, and then Joppa said he trusts JM with his discretion on this matter, and with the open world nature of the game now, he said that new places or points of interest are springing up faster, and they now have so much more freedom with the game design of the world using this new tech. Joppa said that all of these places will make it into the game, even if some of that is post-launch. He wants the places to be so cool that everybody will be invested in feeling that lore and to be driven to learn about these places and for them to be brought to life. The 17th question was, using a rough percent estimate, how much has been implemented through the HDRP? Joppa said it's not done already. He said he would say that a rough estimate is probably at 20%, but it hasn't been an immediate focus, but will be tomorrow, which was yesterday at the time of this recording. There are certain places it had to be implemented right away for development, and now they are getting to the point of needing it all converted over. The 18th question was, during the HDRP livestream, they mentioned the world being open world. Would it be possible to make a teleport preload the collision and etc. to eliminate load times? Kyle says they don't see a need. It's tied to assets not being loaded at the time on the drive that the drive thinks it should be loaded. Sometimes there's not a cast time to be teleported for that to take place, such as GM teleporting you. He says that we are talking seconds of load time here anyway, because of the way it is built. Joppa said when he jumps large distances currently, the load time is literally a second or two, so it is very small right now. And that was the Q&A for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen in November. It was a great format, and it reaffirmed many things, and we got quite a few beans. Next pre-alpha before the end of the year, and it will be the send-off for this build so far. Then we get the network stack implemented, and all the areas will go through the HDRP pipeline, meaning they will no longer be gray box. Then all the classes get implemented, the races, and they will be poised to test what they got, and then it's alpha time. So saying we are on the final leg of pre-alpha starting next year isn't a stretch. It's baked into the information we have, and that's really great news. Hearing that testing is going to be coming in thick and heavy with long play sessions and shorter durations between is also very welcomed. Also, the confidence in their tools they have built for development of content, for example, is really great news. As we know, content is king. What are some of your key takeaways from the Q&A? Let me know in the comments down below, and please drop a like on this video to help with the algorithm. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing for more Pantheon coverage as well as all things RPG. And head over to pledge to Pantheon Rise of the Fallen if you haven't already to help support this amazing indie MMO massive project. And of course, let them know that the Nathan Napalm sent you when they ask. And until next time, my friends, God bless and happy gaming.